right, I'm here with the director of Roosevelt University Esports, Matt Buerckholtz, and we are coming off of the Roosevelt University and IHSEA Campus Series land with Stay Plugged In. Matt, how are you doing?
I am doing fantastic, especially now that it's been a couple more days to kind of rest up, get back on track after the event, feeling good.
Absolutely, yeah. We had a long weekend, and it was very productive and I think efficient overall. We're gonna get your take on it here in a minute, but
Sure.
yeah, you were running the Super Smash Brothers side of it, and then we also had the Valorant and Rocket League side, both wrapping up around midday Sunday. How did the Smash go all weekend?
Smash went really well. I mean, it's one of those tournaments where it's like because it's just one versus one, it's it's not necessarily easy to set up, but it's easy to be flexible with because you can always have it so that if somebody needs to go, in a team tournament, if somebody needs to go grab like lunch or use the bathroom or something, that holds up like what, like nine other people.
Mhm.
So the
Yeah,
entire other team within the other four players on the team that they're playing on. Whereas with Smash Brothers, if somebody needs like a 5-10 minute break real quick, it only holds up their opponent for a little bit, and I can always just like reach out to them personally and kind of work something out. So it's easy to be flexible. We were able to leverage that to the best of our ability, especially since we had a lot of setups. Very, very thankful to everybody that came in and participated and were able to bring their Switch setup with them. It really helped us a lot. So I think it went well.
absolutely. Yeah, no, it seemed like you were running a smooth operation over there, and we had the two projectors up and had one of the mainstream, and then the other was running, I think, one station of Smash. I don't know if you guys were rotating off and on or not.
Yeah.
I had the ability to talk with a couple players there, Mihao for one. And then he was saying that the event was going incredibly well. He was saying he was running up against you're gonna have to forgive me. I'm not great with Smash characters, but the karate character, remind me?
Hey, Kazuya.
Akazuya. Yeah, he
Yeah,
said he was
Kazuya Mishima, the big scary man himself.
he said he was running into him a lot and had some trouble. He's a Diddy Kong main, and he's one of the players that we're following as a it's one of the content series we're going to be doing in the future. We're just following his commitment path. But he said that was his biggest thorn in the side. Did you see anything else that was hindering the competition?
Yeah, I think one of the big, especially in day one, two of the big superstars that I remembered watching were Von Stash and TJ, who played Mr. Game and Watch and Mario respectively. They both were able to pull off some really, really solid. They were both able to pull off some wins against some players that were playing really, really solid in the early days of like pools matches or like Swiss matches. My bad. So yeah, those were definitely the two that I had my eye on the most for like the most entertaining or most exciting sets, and that definitely carried into day two. I know TJ in particular against one of his opponents, he went like all the way down to map 5, down to the wire, was just barely able to clutch it out. So it's like that's the kind of stuff that's always fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely. Smash is one of those games where it's just from a viewer perspective. It's kind of similar to Rocket League, where like you don't really need to know entirely what's going on, but it's very viewer
Yeah,
friendly.
yeah,
Um, I,
absolutely.
I think Von Stash is one of the players from the UCA Academy or UCA program, and got a chance to speak with their head coach there, and just a lot of talent overall in the Chicagoland area. And from that, we can break into the IHSEA competition going on within Rocket League and Smash, or sorry, not Smash, Valorant. Anything on your side? I know your kind of homeland is the Chicagoland area, so you might be familiar with more of the players as far as recruiting goes. Anything stand out to you there?
In terms of, you mean just like the Rocket League and Valorant side of things?
Yeah, yeah.
There were definitely a few teams that really caught our eye right off the bat. One of the other things that was really nice about the event is we were able to have a lot of our own student volunteers come through. We were all able to wear like our matching fresh new t-shirts. So we were able to have a lot of people like come on over and like kind of watch, keep eyes on a bunch of different teams. There was a number of different teams. I don't remember the exact names or like schools that they represented, but there was a few, especially for Rocket League, that we were really, really impressed by, and we're really trying to, keep in contact with them, see where they're going next, just to
It
see if
definitely.
we'd end up being a good fit for them.
Yeah, Rocket League, one of those feature titles in the IHSEA for sure. We've
Mhm.
hosted a couple showcases with them, and Rocket League always seems to stand out. Valorant as well. I know we had an all-star showcase with them earlier. I think it was late last year. And one of the standouts was Angie, and she was there this weekend as
Yeah,
well, and still performed just as great. So awesome to see those household IHSEA names show out. And
absolutely. Yeah,
then again, we also had from the IHSEA, we had Andy show up and got to talk with him a little bit and build that connection there a little more. Was there any communications on your end as far as maybe a recruiting pipeline with him?
With Andy in particular?
Mhm.
Not so much. It was more so whenever Andy and I were chatting about stuff, it was a lot of like logistics stuff, talking about like local esports, the Chicago scene, Illinois scene as a whole. We're in a pretty unique spot in Illinois where there's several different methods for competition for both high school and collegiate, and that extends to both obviously like online events and online qualifiers, but also in-person events and LAN events. So yeah, I mean, we would just be talking about like the kind of infrastructure that exists, both in a local Illinois scale and also just in a broad sense. And yeah, I mean, communications like these, the fact that we're able to keep these going, it really shows how much potential there is. Have a direct line of communication and a direct pathway forward for the high school competitors from right into competing within IHSEA events or similar tournaments in the area and going straight into potential collegiate opportunities. Just the fact that, yeah, Andy was always great to talk about these things with. He's got a really good eye for esports as a whole. So it's great to keep in contact and make sure that, communication is smooth between like the high school and collegiate scenes, especially in Illinois.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't agree more. Communication is key, especially when IHSEA is trying to build that foundation for where all Illinois esport players can come through.
Yeah.
So I know this was Roosevelt's first Stay Plugged In sanctioned LAN. Not sure if you've had any in the past, but aside from that, how do you think the recruiting aspect is versus online to LAN, to where you can talk with the players one-on-one and so on and so forth?
Right. Well, I think the big thing is that the students get to see what campus is like firsthand when they get to go travel to an event, or in the case of, college fairs, they get to go visit, and they get to go communicate with representatives from these individual university programs firsthand. And that's definitely a really big deal for their sake, I think, because just coming from personal experience back when I was first looking to attend university, back all the way back in like 2015, 2016,
Yeah.
it was a matter of like, I wanted to be sure that where I was going was someplace that I'd be comfortable in and
Mhm.
someplace that didn't, seem too foreign to me and too out of my comfort zone. So for me, making sure that I was able to tour any campus that I was interested in was a really, really huge selling point. So I think having it so that we're able to have, having it so that we're able to have that direct line of communication and between like the high school students and whether it's being on campus itself or just talking with collegiate directors, it means a lot more from my experiences when compared to just talking to a Discord user or
Yeah.
just emailing back and forth. So I think that's a really big deal, and I think that goes a long way to make it so that the recruiting process all around is a lot smoother.
Yeah, I agree. And I saw John and I think a couple more students escorting the kids on tours. And
Yep,
not
exactly.
sure if they made it up in the tower or not, but I know that was one of the huge selling points to me as far as unique things at the university is that
Mhm.
the big tall skyscraper from floor, I think it was 15, correct me if I'm wrong, and up is
Yep.
all dorms. That's
Mhm.
just incredible. And to say you went to school in a skyscraper is awesome.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean that also goes into the next point of why it's really nice is at least in our case here, again, we had a really great amount of student volunteers or student leaders were able to come by, and that I think was a really huge aspect for a lot of the high school students we were talking to as well, was they get to meet members of our community firsthand. They get to interact with them, talk about whatever, whether it's about the game, whether it's about the university, the location, nearby food, stuff like that. It makes it all feel very real. I think is the best way to put it. It's no longer just you're looking at images on the internet like you'd look anywhere else. All of a sudden, everything is very real. It's very laid out in front of you. So
yeah, definitely agree. And I know from my perspective, the number one driving point or selling point rather for esports is just how passionate someone is.
yeah.
And to see those volunteers come out and they're donating their time and hard work hours, and they could very well just be doing school or you're grinding rank play or anything like that. But to see them taking the time out of their day and donating it to the greater good and hoping to benefit their university in the end of it is awesome as well. So
Yeah, very
um,
thankful.
yeah, absolutely. And then a couple more hitting points. So, like I said, this was your first sanctioned LAN with Stay Plugged In. How was that relationship with Kyle and CJ and Rick to that extent?
Oh, honestly, it was great. I mean, building off it being our first Stay Plugged In sanctioned event, this was actually our first big LAN event at Roosevelt University, period. of course, I've hosted my own share of events at other institutions with other organizations throughout Illinois, and I've had my share in plenty of different lands for different titles. But this is the first one that we are able to really push forward, plan ahead, and work on for Roosevelt University, and that was really exciting. And on that note, I mean, Kyle, CJ, everybody was really, really great to work with. Communication was smooth all the way through. Of course, they were also very patient because, I had to make sure that everything was all put together on my end because, again, first time we did something like this. But I mean, like our university loves what we're doing here. They're really supportive of events like these. So now that it was just a matter of making sure that the wheels were set in motion. And from there, working with everybody to stay plugged in, it just became a natural fit.
Absolutely. Yeah. Very gracious guests, or hosts rather, I should say. So
Appreciate it.
I think the tournament ran incredibly smoothly. I was on hand for some media relations and marketing in its aspects. And it was just a very well ran event. Production was incredible, and everything provided by the university, it is perfect. So kudos to y'all, and I hope to see more events there in the long run.
Sure. Yeah, I'm glad to hear it. We're definitely looking to do. We're definitely looking to have this be kind of like a springboard into doing more events in the future. Of course, we'll be hosting probably like smaller scale stuff on our own campus. I mean, all I could say, we haven't like announced anything yet, but I mean, anybody who's trying to play Super Smash Brothers should definitely keep an eye out just in case.
There you go.
And of course, we're always open to working with Stay Plugged In on future events. Once the time comes around, and as suggested previously, maybe in the actual springtime, and not like 28.
Yeah,
high of 20 for the whole day.
Had a -4-degree wind chill off the lake, and it was an experience for sure. But you can't get the Chicago treatment without a little bit of cold weather, right?
Yeah.
So
part of the experience.
Right. You had mentioned Super Smash Bros. I know there's currently a Valorant team who had a crazy comeback I saw last night. That was very impressive. So aside from those two, what other titles are you currently competing in at Roosevelt?
So we're competing in a lot of the main titles. So we have teams for League of Legends, Valorant, Call of Duty, and Smash Brothers Ultimate, and we are also recruiting for Fortnite and Rocket League. So we have a lot. I mean, all of us here, whether it's myself, student leaders, our captains, everybody, we all just love esports. We all just like love supporting each other and each other's different titles. So yeah, I mean, we really try to make sure that when we do put a team together, that we're putting our best foot forward and that we're looking long term and not just like, oh yeah, it'd be nice to have a team for this game right off the bat. So it's very exciting that we're able to offer as many titles as we are with that in mind. And I mean, anybody who's willing to play on a team for us, whether it's on a varsity or like a developmental team level, I mean, we're open to both. So we really try to make it so that it's, community first and then winning also first. But
neck and neck with each other, right?
Exactly. Love it. We really prioritize having balance.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got to have a little bit of fun in winning, and I'm sure with a growing program, that's what you're looking for. So just to kind of hit on that a little more, what are some of the key attributes to a player that you're looking for when recruiting them?
Making sure that there's flexibility with scheduling is always the biggest thing, because, at the end of the day, it's a collegiate team. We are a school, we are a university. Everybody has their own commitments, their own personal lives, and of course their classes, their grades that they need to keep up with. All of that's extremely important. So making sure that flexibility with scheduling, being able to work around classes, work around your personal schedule to make sure that there's time to go to scrims, go to practices, go like attend tournaments, lands, etc. All of that's a really, really big deal. So the only way I could put it is, make sure that you're be willing to take it seriously, because all of us here have been putting in a lot of time and effort into making sure that we're able to find a good balance for every single player and every single team. And of course, it's not always the easiest thing in the world to do so. So having that extra bit of cooperation really, really goes a long way, and it's something that we absolutely do not take for granted.
No, definitely, and flexibility. I think as a collegiate, I'll use the term athlete just because you're being, as you should be as available as any other athletic player on the school's roster, right? And just like you were hitting on, you're a collegiate esports athlete first and foremost, and so your school is always going to be prioritized. And no, definitely appreciate the outlook on that.
Yeah.
As far as when recruiting, how important do you think it is for a parent to be as informed and I guess incorporated into the recruiting process as opposed to just the player? We're seeing a lot of in esports specifically, it's kind of student led and student driven. Whereas if you look at other athletics, it's very parent forward, and then they're signing up for travel teams and AAU programs and stuff like that. So where do you think that barrier lies, and how do you kind of bridge that?
Well, I think the biggest thing to keep in mind is that we do count as an athletics organization, and I am here hired as full staff or
Mhm.
full-time staff. So in that regard, even though we have plenty of student involvement opportunities and we have student leaders, it's still staff led and it's still staff directed. And of course, I have my own. There's other people within the athletics hierarchy that I have to work with and report to and stuff like that. We're very professional in that way. So I think one of the biggest things, kind of building on top of that, is that a lot of people who aren't directly involved in the esports space, whether it's parents or otherwise, they don't fully understand, I think, what we're trying to do by having their child be able to compete in different tournaments, whether it's online or in person. We take them out to like a local venue or something like that for a tournament. So I think the biggest thing is just being able to, communicate with them personally and being able to, going back to what I was saying earlier, showcase that this is all real, that this is, this isn't just people just playing video games alone and grinding out like 10, 12 hours a day, just like trying to hit whichever ranked goals. This is us cooperating as a team, scheduling as a team to, bond with each other and to collect some W's together as a team. So
Definitely.
making that aspect real, making it so that it's, making it clear that it's not just the gaming aspect, but also the team competition, the social aspect, the time management aspect, that everything is very clearly laid out. I think that's the biggest priority to take in that regard.
Yeah, and I was speaking with one of the parents that was watching. I think it was a semifinal match on Saturday.
Mhm.
They were, in the lingo enough to know that the student was playing on his alt account and a character that he wasn't really too fond of, but he was helping the team out.
Yeah,
And so just seeing parents get more educated and more aware of the space in general is awesome.
yeah,
And
of course.
we're really trying to push that narrative at Stay Plugged In, that like you're saying, it's not just kids sitting at their computer for 10 to 12 hours a day, just quote unquote wasting time, right? They're
Yeah,
trying to build a brand and build a future for themselves as far as collegiate or professional opportunities go. So
exactly. Yeah.
well, I think that's all the questions I have. I'll give you a little bit of time to plug what you have going on at Roosevelt University or anything going on. You said you were looking at some Smash events later, wink, wink,
Mhm.
or anything else going on as far as competition goes.
Well, the best way that you can keep in touch with everything that we do is to go ahead and follow us on Twitter at @RU_esports. We have tons of stuff that's going on out there, whether it's result graphics, graphics announcement, or like announcing, the upcoming like tournament streams that we have, whether it's our Valorant team competing in NACE or our League of Legends team competing in CLOL or anything else of that matter. I mean, everything is going to be there. Any future events that we host, whether it's for Super Smash Brothers, for something like Rocket League, for any fighting games, anything like that, you're all going to find it right there. We'll make sure that every single detail you could possibly need is there. That is the place to get all the information you need to learn more about our program. So again, it's at RU_esports, Lakers Esports.
Awesome. Well, hey, we appreciate your time, Matt, and we hope to see you again in Chicago with a little more warmer weather, maybe.
Awesome. Looking forward to it as well. Plenty of
Awesome.
things in store for the future.